So he spent the last few minutes throwing out names that might not be Blaine Gabbert as the starting quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers come week 1 of 2022. Here's another one. Here's one last one for you. Tom Brady. What about that one? What about that one, Rick?
Well, if they had Blaine and they had Kyle and some, second tier guy was here and we got to August or September even, or, right at the start of the season and Tom said he wants to play, they're going to absolutely own his rights. Sometime after June 1st, they're going to put him on the reserve retired list. He's going to count $8 million against the cap this year and $24 million against the cap in 2023. And if he wants to play, they believe, this is them talking now, they believe he would play here because at 45, does he really want to go to another team, learn a new offense, new players, all of that, or they know, or he knows, that the Bucs would do everything they can, mortgage more future, bring in any player he wants, and try to make another run at it. So I'm not saying they're keeping the seat open. They have to proceed as if he's retired, and I sort of believe that he is. But it's always, I think it's going to be a possibility until it's not, right? Until they were to just make some bold move, whether that was with Watson because the owners were satisfied his problems are behind him. They give up a ton of draft capital for future years. If there's a guy in here that they've spent a lot of money or picks on, then Tom's probably out of the picture. And to be honest, if Brady went to them, and there's a theory out there about this, and I don't know if it's true, but if Brady went to them and said, "Listen, I want to play for this team, not the Bucs, but another team,"
mm-hmm.
I think they would be so grateful for what he gave them for 2 years that the Glazer family would not hold him up. They would not say, "Hey, it's here or nowhere, bud." I watched Rich McKay walk out of here as a GM. One day he was the GM of the Bucs. They let him go to Atlanta, for God's sakes. And a week later, he was the GM of the Falcons playing in Raymond James. And again, it was gratitude for all he had done for them, getting the stadium, all that stuff. So I just know the Glazers. I don't think they would hold Tom up. And we all suspect that would be San Francisco. That would be the place that, he might want to have one last shot at it, his hometown team. But they don't believe that. They believe that if Tom were to change his mind, that he would play here.
And what about the concept of gear grinding that was happening over the last year, right? And I know Arians, and you had very strident quotes from him shooting down that he was gumming up the game plan that Brady was working on with Leftwich at the last moment, or red marking or something like that. I mean, what do you make of whatever was going on behind the scenes that you may be aware of that could discount Brady coming back? What do you think of that one?
Well, I mean, the literal, redlining didn't happen for sure, and part of that narrative was that Bruce was working on his Achilles in the morning, and Bruce doesn't work on his Achilles in the morning. So the way this has worked since Bruce got here is that Byron Leftwich runs the offense. I mean, he does all of it. He's in at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. Bruce was never going to do scripts. Bruce was never going to do game planning in the sense that you put together the plan for the entire week, et cetera. Now, he gets the game plan. He will look at it. He will tweak it. He will add to it. But he doesn't take things away generally. And as Brady was here, remember they were 7-5. It didn't look like the Bucs offense. They had a big, sort of meeting then, and BA was involved more. And they did some things, with Tom to make it more his offense, which is what we saw this past season. But Brady does the game planning as much as Leftwich does it with him. And so I don't think that's true. And Bruce was emphatic about that part of it. What is possible, though, like anybody that has a boss, like you don't always get along with them all the time, right? I mean, and there were things that happened last year that I'm sure upset Brady. I'm sure he didn't like the result, at least, of having Antonio Brown not on this roster. He needed another receiver. Godwin got hurt. The first game that Brown could have come back after the fake Vax card suspension was New Orleans. They lost 9-0. They were down 6-0 until the last minute or so. And within a span of 10 minutes, they lost 3 of their top players. Had Antonio Brown been around for that would have been great. But that was a suspension situation. And then, he does come back. He lights it up one game, 10 catches, 110 yards against Carolina. And the next week, he's mad at Tom. He's mad at everybody at halftime about not getting the ball enough. And then we saw what happened with the shirt off and the whole thing with the Jets, and it was messy. And the biggest thing is it took away a weapon. It hurt them. It hurt Tom. And it was just, there were things like that I'm sure he wasn't pleased with.
But why would that be the fault of the Bucs at all? Like, why would Brady not be happy? It's Antonio Brown's responsibility.
Exactly.
Whatever was going on with his ankle and, in the last couple of weeks, if Brady's upset at anything about what happened with Brown, all he's got to do is look to the gram or the tweet or whatever that Brown put out this week about the MRI proving that he was forced out on the field, and then he deleted it because it was people pointed out it was a year old what he popped up about his MRI. So why would Brady be upset about anything of the way that the Brown situation was handled?
I don't know that he was, other than that Brown was fired, right? Like, he's fired and fired immediately. Like, the first thing Bruce said after the game is he's out of here. And I don't know what other option Bruce had when he refused to play, et cetera. Again, this is all speculation.
Right.
I don't know what he would be unhappy about. The coaches, I'm telling you, the coaches that work with him every day, work with Brady every day, never heard him come in and, say derogatory things about BA or I can't stand it. That just never happened. So that like I said, do you like everything people do? Could they have been, maybe more attention to detail in practice or the walkthroughs? If anything, Rich, he probably wanted more, right? He always wanted more. Maybe he wanted him to sign Odell Beckham Jr., who was a free agent at the time, and BA said, OBJ, too many initials. Maybe he would have liked to seen them, trade away a 2 and a 3 for Von Miller, who hit him 9 times in that divisional playoff game.
Right.
Tom has made mention that the Rams really went for it, and that's what the Bucs did a year ago. The Bucs just had so many injuries, and if not for some bad play calling and some bad execution at the end against the Rams, they win that game in overtime, and we're talking about another one of the greatest comebacks in playoff history with Tom Brady. So, it's hard to. I don't know where this gets started. I guess it's people around Brady. But the folks that I know that are around Brady and the folks that are around the Bucs think that this is like kind of a false narrative that he has any bad mojo or vibes about playing in Tampa. It's true the team's going to be different, but they would figure out the cap situation. They would bring as many guys back as they could. They'd draft whoever, get whoever, and I think Tom knows that. So, can we just accept that the guy's going to retire after 22 seasons? I think that's people want to blame somebody for that, and really it's Tom's choice.
For sure, and I hope everything is well between him and the Bucs. Just for the mere fact that if there is a movie called 80 for Brady, we got to get Tom Moore in there in some sort of a cameo, don't you think? Don't you think?
Yeah.
Get Tom Moore
we
in there?
Thought Tom was retired, and it turns out he's just working 9 to 5 with Lily Tomlin.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Sally Field and Rita Moreno, right?
Yeah. Well done.
The other thing is, if his movie career is going anywhere,
Yes.
Does he have to play someone besides himself? Is that really acting?
Well, I think it 100% means that he's got the bug. Let's see if he expands the brand a little bit. You know what I mean? Like,
you want him to be the next James Bond or something?
I don't know. Let's see what he can do. Tom Wick. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Like Tom Wick. You know what I mean? I'm just throwing it out there. We're thinking.
I don't know. We've had 80 for Brady, Man in the Arena. What's next? Man in the Mirror. The guy. He's got to play someone else. I think he's got to. Maybe he's got to branch out just a little bit, because the next guy that comes to him with, "Hey, I got a great idea.
I know.
We're going to do a story
Yeah.
about you, and you're going to play yourself as a quarterback. You know, which Super Bowl would you like to emulate?
50
you know?
Super Bowl 57 with the 49ers. How does that sound?
Oh, man. Here we go.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.